It's time now to take a look through the international newspapers, and for that I'm joined by Florence Villaminor. Hello, Florence.
Hi,
we're going to start off with Spain. It's getting a lot of attention in the press today.
That's right. We're going to start by looking at El País. Now, their editorial calls it the big adjustment, and it's interesting because the traditionally left-leaning newspaper is actually in support of the Prime Minister, Mariano Rajoy, and his announcement to increase taxes and cut spending for a total of 65 billion euros. Now, they say these measures are bitter but necessary, and this way Spain can avoid that cliff that it was heading towards due to bad economic policies under the socialists. So it's interesting for the left-leaning paper to be critical of the socialists. It points out, though, that Rajoy is going against his campaign promise. He promised not to raise sale taxes, but it says that he had no choice. He has to restore trust from European partners and foreign investors.
So that's El País, but The Guardian doesn't go so easy on him.
The Guardian, no. Their editorial is called The Pain in Spain. They called a U-turn for the Prime Minister, who had promised, and I quote, not to stop small children from buying sweeties. So according to The Guardian, he's coming back on his word here. And it also points out that Rajoy is actually not the master of his own parish. According to The Guardian, it's really the EU and the Eurozone that are pulling the strings. It's also critical of this plan, saying it might not actually solve Spain's economic problems. And on top of all that, a trouble is brewing at home with incredible unemployment and social stability that seems to be another factor that's rising rapidly. So things aren't looking up for Spain, according to The Guardian.
All right, we're going to move to the States, where a new Super Political Action Committee, or Super PAC, is getting a lot of attention in the press.
That's right. It's called LPAC, and it's the first lesbian Super Political Action Committee. So just a reminder as to what a Super PAC actually is. It's a controversial fundraising group that raises money for or against a candidate. Now, the reason it's controversial is because under new campaign finance laws that were approved by the Supreme Court, they can generate and spend unlimited funds. So the LPAC is backed by several high-profile lesbians, such as Jane Lynch, who's the star of the hit TV show Glee, exactly, tennis player Billie Jean King as well. And their aim is to raise $1 million to back gay and feminist candidates during the 2012 election cycle and to push forward pro-feminist and gay rights agenda. And The Guardian calls it a historic and a giant leap for gay womankind. They say it strikes a contrast with the straight white guys, which are the traditional donors for Republican super PACs, for instance. And there's an interesting article in the Super PAC, in the Huffington Post by Chris Wagant, who he thinks it's a great idea. He says, go LPAC. Now, he's against the Supreme Court's decision, which was called Citizens Unite, because he says it's proof that money is too influential in politics. But he points out, just because the game isn't rigged, just because the game is rigged doesn't mean that you shouldn't play it. And he's looking forward to the ads that this Super PAC is going to put forward, because Super PAC ads can often get out of hand and the gloves come off.
They do tend to, don't they? Now, moving on to Melinda Gates, the wife of Bill Gates, the billionaire. She's getting a lot of attention in the press as well because of some comments she made in London yesterday.
That's right. She vowed to dedicate her life to improving access to contraception for women in the developing world. And she vowed that her the foundation that she created with Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation, will donate $560 million to family planning services. Now, the aim is to reduce unwanted pregnancies in poor countries. Now, what's interesting about this is that Melinda Gates is a devout Catholic, and these comments go right against what the Vatican's position, which is against contraception. Now, she says that she really thought a lot about this, and she says that as a Catholic, I believe in this religion, but we have to keep women alive. This is an article in The Independent that's talking about this, and in their editorial, they applaud Melinda Gates, and they say that it is somewhat provocative for the Vatican, but it's a way to ensure that generations in the developing world will have a decent life.
And we're ending with some criticism of the organisers of the London Olympics.
That's right. What do a vuvuzela, a frisbee, a long lens camera, and a Che Guevara t-shirt have in common?
No idea.
Well, they're banned from the Olympics. The Olympic Organizing Committee sent out a 2-page list of items to any ticket holders yesterday, and there's a long list of things that has drawn a lot of criticism. This is an article in The Independent that's talking about it. Critics are calling it the organizers' latest diktat. Now, people were critical of the Beijing Olympics for being somewhat repressive or appearing repressive, and it seems that the London Olympic Committee is also somewhat restrictive, at least.
They have to have some rules, though, don't they? All right. Thank you very much, Florence, for running us through the newspapers. And that's it for this half hour of Live from Paris. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned.